If you've spent the last few nights scrolling through endless bass listings, watching demo videos, and still feel like you're stuck in a loop of, "This looks good, but is it really the right fit for me?" You're not alone. I've been there, staring at a dozen options and wondering if any of them will actually sit comfortably under my hand, cut through a mix, and survive the road without turning my pockets inside out. This review is meant to cut through the noise and give you a clear picture of whether the Ibanez Bass Workshop EHB1005MS is the guitar that finally makes sense for you. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's start with the big picture. The EHB1005MS lands in the increasingly popular multiscale, 5-string arena. That niche has been growing because players want tighter low-end tension without sacrificing the playability of higher strings. In theory, a multiscale design solves the floppy low-string problem that many 5-string owners complain about, but in practice it introduces a learning curve. If you've never tried a fan-fret instrument before, you'll notice the strings angle outward as you move up the fretboard, which can feel odd the first few times you line up your fingers. The upside is a more even string tension across the range, meaning that the low B stays grounded while the high C retains snap and clarity. The body of the workshop model is made from basswood, a tone wood that's often described as a balanced canvas. In my own testing, that translates to a surprisingly neutral character that lets the pickup speak louder than the wood itself. For gigging musicians who need to slot the bass into a variety of genre settings, say, a funk groove one night and a melodic indie line the next, the basswood core doesn't color the tone too heavily. That neutrality is a practical strength if you rely on amp or pedal shaping to dial in your sound. The downside? Basswood isn't as resonant as a heavier mahogany or alder when you're playing solo, acoustic-style passages. If you love that natural, woody sustain, you might feel something is missing. One of the more subtle, yet important, elements is the roasted Birdseye maple fretboard. Roasting the wood removes moisture and stabilizes the material, which helps keep the neck straight over years of temperature swings on tour. In day-to-day use, that means you won't find yourself constantly adjusting truss rods after a few gigs in a hot club. The Birdseye pattern also adds a visual flair that sets the bass apart from a plain maple board. However, roasted wood can feel a bit smoother under the fingertips, which some players with a heavier grip report as a slight loss of bite when doing fast, percussive fingerstyle. If you rely on a very aggressive attack, you might want to experiment with a lighter touch or consider a different fingerboard texture. The neck itself is a roasted maple and walnut blend, another nod to stability. The walnut adds a tiny bit of heft that balances the basswood body, making the instrument sit nicely on stage without feeling top-heavy. For those who travel a lot, that balance reduces the strain on your strap and lower back. On the flip side, the neck profile is on the slimmer side, a modern C shape that many players appreciate for speed, but it can feel cramped for larger hands used to a chunkier, vintage-style neck. If you have a broader palm, you might need to spend a few minutes getting comfortable with the slimmer feel before you can really dive into complex chordal work. Now onto the heart of the tone, the two Bartolini BH2 Pickups. Bartolini is known for delivering articulate, clear voicings that sit nicely in a mix, especially in modern production where low-end definition matters. In a live setting, those pickups cut through drum kits without overwhelming the rest of the band, giving you that present but not overpowering presence. For studio players, the BH2's balanced output lets you capture both the low thump and the high-end definition without needing to boost a lot of EQ later. A practical weakness is that the BH2 isn't as gritty as some high-output humbuckers you might find on metal-focused basses. If you're chasing aggressive, distorted tones straight out of the instrument, you'll probably need a pedal or amp gain stage to get there. Who should consider the EHB1005MS? If you're an intermediate player who already knows you want a 5-string and you've dabbled with multi-scale concepts, this bass gives you a solid entry point without the premium price tag of boutique brands. It's also a great match for studio musicians who need a versatile tone that can be shaped in post, because the neutral body and articulate pickups give you a clean canvas. Live performers who value a stable neck for long runs of touring will appreciate the roasted construction. And the striking seafoam green matte finish adds a visual edge that can help you stand out on stage. Who should skip it? Beginners on a tight budget might find better value in a single-scale 4-string that's easier on the wallet and has a more familiar feel. if you're a heavy rock or metal,